Alright, I'm excited to have come up with the idea to do some of my favorite excerpts from How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is a book that I have read off and on for several years of my life, and I am excited to read completely through it and summarize the most important takeaways from each chapter in ways that should stick in your mind like vivid pictures. The BNI networking education moment ideas go pretty hand in hand with this book also. So here's a summarization of 9 suggestions to get the most out of this book. There's a really cool story and an image in my mind that I have always remembered from reading How to Win Friends and Influence People. The story came from a small preface in the book before the first chapter even started. It always put a vision in my mind that I can easily remember and recall, and relate with too. This small preface called 9 Suggestions to Get the Most Out of This Book starts off with things that most of us may already know, but this should be a fun refresher. The section starts out with asking for you to develop a deep driving desire to learn and a vigorous determination to increase your ability to deal with people, and saying to yourself over and over, quote, "My popularity, my happiness, and my sense of worth depend to no small extent upon my skill in dealing with people," end quote. The section goes on to recommend underscoring or drawing a line beside any suggestion that you feel that you can use. Marking up like this that you own makes it more interesting and far easier to review rapidly. Also, the book mentions that only if we use this knowledge that we learn will it tend to stick in our minds. And when trying to learn and apply the principles discussed in this book, we will probably find it difficult to apply these suggestions all of the time. But be patient, because changing the way that you interact with people happens over a long while and it takes practice. That is why this book is really more of a workbook that you should read over and over and work on some of the chapters individually instead of only reading it one time from front to back. It is much easier to criticize and condemn than it is to try to understand the other person's viewpoint. It's also much more natural to talk about what you want to talk about instead of talking about what the other person wants to talk about. So be sure to refer back to this book often for a mindset refresher, because we tend to lose our way over time. So my favorite part of this book here, section 8, talks about a president of an important Wall Street bank who once described in a talk a highly efficient system that he used for self-improvement. This man had little formal schooling, yet he had become one of the most important financiers in America. He confessed that he owed most of his success to the constant application of his homemade system. This is what he does, somewhat paraphrased in the first person. For years, I've kept an engagement book showing all of the appointments during the days of the week. My wife and my children never made plans for me on Saturday night, for the family knew that I devoted a part of each Saturday evening to the illuminating process of self-examination and review and appraisal of my actions that past week. After dinner, I went off by myself. I opened my engagement book and thought over all of the interviews, discussions, and meetings that had taken place during the week. As I thought about my engagements, I asked myself, what mistakes did I make that time? What did I do that was right? And in what way could I have improved my performance? What lessons can I learn from that experience? Well, I'll tell you that I often found that this weekly review made me very unhappy in the past. I was frequently astonished at my own blunders. Of course, as the years passed, these blunders became less frequent, and sometimes I was even inclined to pat myself on the back a little after one of these weekly reflection sessions. This system of self-analysis and self-education continued year after year, and it did more for my personal and professional life than any one thing that I have attempted. It helped me improve my ability to make decisions, and it aided me enormously in my contact with people. I cannot recommend that too highly. So why not make a similar system to check up on your application of your own principles? If you do, 2 things will result. First, you will find yourself in an educational process that is both intriguing and priceless in your own life. Second, you will find that your ability to meet and deal with people will grow enormously. There is so much more to each chapter of How to Win Friends and Influence People that the summaries cannot cover each and every individual idea, example, or lesson. Consider purchasing a physical copy of the book How to Win Friends and Influence People and marking up your own copy for yourself. Keep it by your bedside and read it for a few minutes at a time. I think that it will improve your personal and professional life just as much as it has for mine. Find the copy that I'm reading on from Amazon at the link down below, and subscribe for more chapter summaries that you can use for yourself if you are the BNI Networking Education Coordinator, or if you need 5 minutes of good constructive speaking material for any professional meetings that involve dealing with other people. Thank you.